So we're pushing the level 1 Drake contract a week. Instead, we get Rebs walk us through a stormy Cayo Perico so we can talk a wee bit about GTA 6. I have some cliff notes jolted down here, so let's get to it. Let's rock. Hello and welcome to another video. GTA 6 trailer to ease out. Are you excited or not, or somewhere in between? All of a sudden we have something different to talk about, isn't it? All right, I'm not going to pull an EFAP on this because we have some theories about the characters. I want to talk about the plot. And spoiler, I don't think it's Bonnie and Clyde at all, as I mentioned on my live stream. But I want to talk about it today. So thanks for being in here. As we get into this, I want to get something out of the way. So trailer 2 feels a complete change of pace from trailer 1. So the first GTA 6 word we hear is Lucia.
Lucia.
With a shot of herself and followed by another shot of another woman, which is possibly a parole officer or something. And if you're given pattern recognition, I think we all know what's coming. A bunch of girls bossing around. Also, we don't get to see Jason until further down the line on the timeline on the video. And even when we do, he seems to be taking this second fiddle kind of role where he's just standing a little bit behind her. Something. It's like always a bit in the background, and then this shot, and then that other shot. So cut into the second trailer, and I think we have a much different vibe here. This one focused on Jason and on his daily routine until we're finally introduced to Lucia. And when we do, I do not get the impression that she's being pushed out of the scene, like just the way Jason was in the first trailer, you know, taking the behind Lucia stance, background kind of stuff. I don't get the impression that that's what's happening here to her. And she appears to be just resourceful and determined and very strong and can hold her own in some sort of kind of way. And I think this is important to mention because I believe that main characters these days, not just female for that matter, can be written in a way that they're relevant to the story without having to put someone else or someone down, you know, which is what I think these girl bossy characters do. They're not strong, they're just bitching around and then throwing a fit at everyone, just competing for masculinity. And I'm going to head and say that I really don't think this needs to be like that. My theory here is that rumors we heard a while back about the story are possibly true, that there was some rework done in terms of story and the focus and direction of the game. And I'm going to put a tenner down on the huge focus on Lucia with Jason taking a background role was kind of shifted to a focus on Jason with Lucia also. You know, just taking a side-by-side role, not necessarily one in front of the other, you know? So instead of this woke game where female protagonist and there's like this dumb simp like going behind her and then just like, you know, no need for that. We get a strong male lead and a strong female lead. That's it, you know? So I hope this makes sense. I'm not sure if it makes sense. I was riffing a little bit. So anyways, moving on to the trailer. He opens with Jason doing some work on the roof, and his landlord stops by and has him running errands. So he goes around, collects payouts, he does some workout, drives around his neighborhood and stuff, and we learn a little bit more about his routine, like his daily routine. And then he goes to collect Lucia, which is being released on parole or something. But I'm saying this because she has like an ankle monitor, so I'm guessing she's not completely free. The backstory says sheer luck. If you're going to look into Rockstar Newswire, that's what the ankle monitor is for, I'm guessing, and seems to be doing some community work of some sorts during the day just to kind of like change for freedom or something. So they eventually start going on a series of robberies and start upping the ante somehow, and then I think the goal is to turn the tables in their favor, and everyone is been LARPing on this Bonnie and Clyde story, and I think he has nothing to do with it. So I'm just going to pause here for a minute and try to back up my story with a little bit of a tangent. So we all know that GTA pulls influence from the Fast and the Furious franchise with some clever references to the movies, and a whole bunch of cars are replicated in game with the liveries and whatnot. And I did a couple of videos about it before where I'm just like drawing references and whatnot, right? There's somewhere out in the channel or something. But I keep doing this, right? And as for characters, we get how, for example, which might be a reference to Taj's mechanic in the Fast and Furious 2. Imani, I think it's Ramsey, the hacker, which shows up like later in the series. And us, ourselves, we seem to be Brian, who's like some sort of undercover, loyal driver that keeps taking like, bounce and trades on with law and whatnot. So, in case you haven't seen the Fast and the Furious movies, here's just a quick speed run of it. Brian O'Connor is an undercover cop trying to bust a crew jacking trucks on the highway. And he gets into street racing. He earns the trust of Dominic Toretto. He falls for his sister, Mia, and starts to question his mission. And eventually lets Dominic go at the end of the movie and then loses his badge over it. In part 2, he reconnects with Roman, which is an old friend, which is doing time. And you notice that Roman also has an ankle monitor. He agrees to help the feds in exchange for his freedom. And sometime in the end of the movie, they say like, he did time, and then it was something that they both did or something, but only Roman ended up taking time. And I think this is a little bit more or less the same approach. We're going to skip Tokyo Drift. I think it was fun, but irrelevant here. On Fast Furious 4, Brian's back working with the FBI, and he's chasing down this drug cartel and reconnects with Mia. Now, he joins forces with Dominic Toretto sometime along the movie to take down the drug lord, but Toretto doesn't get his pardon at the end of the movie. So this sends Brian rogue again because he ends up breaking him out. Now, Fast Furious Part 5, Brian and Dominic are now working side by side with the feds to catch a criminal. This is where the series starts going down because The Rock joins in and it's a piece of shit. So I'm bringing all this because the GTA 6 trailer seems to be riffing off a similar arc when it comes to this, right? So using the same information we get from both the trailer and the Rockstar newswire, because there's some more information that Rockstar put up for us, we learned that Jason is an ex-military, so it's not a stretch to think that he can be recruited to work as an undercover cop or to work alongside the feds, or if it's not working with the cops or something, he's been used by them or something. Which is exactly the situation we saw Brian face on and off on the Fast and the Furious storyline. But then he connects with Lucia, which was released by sheer luck. And here it can go either way, right? There's two trains of thought here. Either she's an old friend, just like Roman Pierce, being released on parole. She has an ankle monitor, so it's either that or going back to prison. And she's now working undercover alongside Jason to take down a drug cartel in exchange for her freedom. Or she's Jason's ticket into her organization or gang, right? Or whichever reason she's canned for. This pushes Lucia way back in relevance. So not too sure about this, given that she was so front stage debut, but maybe because she's from Liberty City, we can just draw some connection to Luis Fernando Lopez from other games. But my point here is that I think that Lucia could be the ticket in for Jason to get involved into these gangs and stuff. And then now that's the same thing as the parallel as Mia Toretto. Which was serving him like tuna sandwiches as he starts the movie. So, not Bonnie and Clyde go on a series of robberies. They get dragged by some people along the way. And by the end of the trailer, there's this line spoken to someone, which appears to be Jason, who's facing away.
We gotta protect each other.
And his hair is similar to other shots we're treated with that we can see on Newswire. And he's not rocking the military buzz cuts, so if he's not an undercover cop or fed or some sorts, I'm going to put another tenner down and say he's working for them or with them or something. So, to sum it all up, I don't think this is a Bonnie and Clyde fantasy. I think Jason's his ex-military and is now working for or with the feds to take down a bigger organization. And Lucia is either an old ally being offered redemption. They probably knew each other before she went to prison or something, or she's Jason's way into infiltrate the crime ring. So what stands out to me is that they're both strong characters without undermining one another. They're their own. And I think the real twist here is going to be they both have their own agenda and then they're doing their own thing. So this is Fast and Furious, not a romance-driven heist drama.